I just feel like smiling. That's it.
Glad you do.
You know what? It was crazy is you know, I like I tell people all the time, it's really like no days off. And so regardless of what happens, what goes on, you know, we still push through and gotta have a smiling face. First and foremost, welcome to the Love and Business on Lock podcast. I am the franchise Clacton. This lovely lady to the left of me is Dr. Cassandra Vaughn. What up? How are you?
I am burned out.
Okay, you tired?
No, I'm burned out.
Okay, you look nice.
Thank you.
If that helps.
Mm-hmm.
If that helps. But we have an amazing guest. Usually we talk a little trash before the show, but we have an amazing guest, and I got to figure out how he got his beard to grow like that, because mine won't grow no further than what you see on my face. But he's a relationship specialist and realist, really, really cool individual. We had a chance to, meet each other a couple of weeks ago. So this felt like it was necessary to have him on the Love and Business on Lock podcast. None other than Rob Malloy. Rob, what's up, bro? How you feeling, man?
Hey, cheers to you.
Cheers, man. Cheers, man. You know what? I'm not drinking during the week anymore, man. So as much as I want to drink, I don't know. I would probably be asleep right now if I had a cocktail. So
yeah. Well, I don't drink at all, so that's water.
Okay, that's the fake out. Okay, all right. That's the fake out. All right, man. Look, that's and I feel like I'm doing good by not drinking during the week. Like I really feel like I am making major moves by not having a cocktail.
Yeah.
Because a DJ, and that's been kind of part of it for years. You know what I mean? Part of it for years, but I feel like I am doing. I'm doing well. You know what I'm saying? I control the narrative, so that's it. How are you doing today?
Hey man, I'm doing fantastic. I heard you guys a little bit earlier, and I completely understand. Some days you just worn down, but I think the beauty of it is that you pull strength from each other. So sometimes it's one over the other. Sometimes it's both of you. Sometimes it's whatever. But when you end it together. So you guys are the epitome of what I would consider relationship goals, man. So I appreciate you allowing me to partake. I'm honored.
So much.
Thank you.
Rob, real quick, I'm sorry, I apologize. I didn't see that you asked the question until a few seconds ago.
Yes.
So for anybody that you have that would like to watch it, they can go to the YouTube channel. We are on live right now, Love Business and Lock, or to our Facebook page, Love Business and Lock as well. We are live as we speak.
Okay. Good. Yeah, I'm gonna go there myself and definitely share it. I appreciate you guys so much, and when we did meet, it was a vibe about you two, because I didn't necessarily see you guys together, but I knew when you guys connected that. Yeah, they not just, they not just cool like that. And that's not, this and that. There's something, I didn't know your business, but these two, there's something. Right. And so you guys are a whole vibe. And,
thank you.
And I appreciate everything that you represent.
Thank you.
And that means a lot, that means a lot. We are both, a work in progress. As we go along the journey, trying to get better each and every day.
Yeah.
And like you said, not every day is the, we won the championship every day, but you know what I'm saying? We gonna shoot the jumper at it at least, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You miss 1,000% of the shots you don't take. I'm a sports guy, so,
that's real.
You know what I mean? I kind of use sports analogies. Before we get started though, I do want to talk about your beard, right?
Yeah, let's talk about it.
Because mine won't grow, fam. Like, you see what I'm saying? Like, this is it, and it fits me. But even if I wanted to have some length,
just that,
it get to it get a little further than this and then start curling up.
Yeah, yeah. You'd have to get the lace front, man, if you wanted to go full stream, man.
You know.
Yeah, I'm gonna go ahead.
That's gonna be a no.
Yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and have a junior bid. I'm gonna go ahead and be in the junior division.
Yeah, well, my beard is it symbolizes my journey. To be honest with you,
okay,
and that's why I haven't cut it down low. Obviously, once upon a time it was black beard, jet black. And then, I started to see some gray into it. I started graying around late 20s, right?
It was early.
Yeah, pretty early. And I get that from my mom's side because my dad has a full head of hair, and he also can rock the clean shave if he wants to. So I got that from the country folk on my mom's side. But long story short, it started graying pretty early, and I would drop that dye off in there. Right, I would color it all the time, every week. Colored, couple spots.
Just for men or Beijing? Which one?
It was. I started out with Just for Men because I didn't know any better. Right, just go get the box, hit the box, $7.99 anywhere, and I'm good. Right, I do it myself, and then when I learned about the Beijing, then I started whipping it. You whip the Beijing together, and so after thousands of pillowcases and hundreds of shirts. My nicest shirts got the dye around the neck, the beard. Some of the nicest shirts I ever had, and so I decided to embrace it. And it's been about 2 years, and obviously it started out kind of raccoon look, as it was transitioning, and then as it grew, when I trimmed it, it got rid of the old hair, the old experiences, the past experiences, and so everything that you see on my face is all new. Okay, so I like to consider it. So it's my journey, and that's what I've been experiencing, particularly these last 2 years, because that's when I started my platform. So it's been nothing less than amazing.
It's interesting that you said that, but before I go to what I was going to say thank you for your service. Because you served our country. So thank you, thank you for protecting us and thank you for our service.
Definitely.
But it's interesting that you talk about how your beard represents your journey, because I say all the time that a lot of our issues as humans is that we don't cut off the dead weight.
Wow.
And so basically what you're telling us is that this is all new. You've cut out the old and you're embracing the new.
Absolutely. That's my story. Yeah, that's my story. And like I said, I embraced it. I get a lot of love. I did not. Now, don't get me wrong. I understand the salt and pepper movement, but I'm kind of beyond that, right? So this is full. And so, it's like my own, I'm in my own lane, so I'm enjoying that more than anything.
It's funny because I would tell Cassandra all the time, I'm like, yo, this is, and I don't have that much gray, but I'm like, yo, it's too much gray. Yeah. Like, I'm gray, cut it off. Yeah. Like, man, you're going to look like I don't know what you're going to look like. You're going to look like I ain't going to say what she said I would look like, but I'm like, yo, I'm in a young man's game. I'm a DJ. This not supposed to be gray. And I wouldn't put the Beijing in because I know it's not going to give me a natural look.
Yeah, so,
yeah. She like, yo, stop trying to act like you a young punk. You ain't.
Yeah.
I'm here with the gray, and I'm good. Life is good. So I followed her lead on that. You know what I'm saying? I followed her lead on that. But I was gonna cut it off. I was thinking about it. I was contemplating. I don't know what I was gonna look like.
You can see the agony in her face talking about it.
Yeah, I was gonna go clean face. At one point, I didn't have any hair on my face. At one point,
I think for me, it's about life is short, and when we're able to live to a certain age or to a certain stage, then we need to be grateful and thankful that God allowed us to be here that long. So for me, I'm not ashamed to tell anybody that I'm 46. I don't look 46, right? And I have a 22-year-old who looks like my twin. you know?
Okay. Yeah.
So for me, I've been blessed. I've been blessed in my career. I've been blessed in the things that I've done. And I know that I am, or we are in a young person's industry, but I don't want to be 22. I don't want to be 32.
Right.
Those experiences that I had for a reason. So now
Yeah.
that I am the age that I am, I'm embracing that fully.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, you earned it. You know, you earned it. And the learning experience and the wisdom is what people that are younger, 20s, you know, going in the 30s, that's what they crave to know. That's the guidance that they crave to know and learn. And that's what we have upon us. And so we have to embrace that. We have to utilize that to the fullest extent. And so it's a blessing. You know, no matter how we try to look at it, it's always a blessing.
You know, before we really get into really what you do, I and speaking, and I'm asking this question to the both of you. Just in like Black culture, it seems like it's the only culture where we don't embrace and celebrate you know, people who have went through the struggle or got to a certain been in a certain tenure. You know,
Yeah.
we don't. And if you look into, you know, other genres or other ethnicities and that sort of thing, they celebrate. You're not hearing them say AC/DC is old. They're not saying that. They're not saying Def Leppard is old. They don't say that, but they'll say that Big Daddy Kane is old. Or you understand what I'm saying? And I don't. Does anybody know why in our culture that we get that energy?
Man.
So
Yeah, please go first. Go ahead.
what I would say is that we always speak of that, but think about it like this: what do we do to change that narrative? That's the first part. The second part is this: unfortunately, sometimes our race or culture or ethnic group has that crab in a barrel mentality. So what I mean by that is, you know, I appreciate Rob for everything that he does. I don't do what he does. I appreciate him for what he does and what he's given to the culture. So I'm going to praise him and I'm going to uplift him, but you don't find that in everybody. And unfortunately, it's because if a person is not happy with their destination in life, their current destination, then they don't know how to celebrate you, you know?
Yeah.
And so we allow that. And what I mean by we allow that is because we never stop that energy. So in order for us to expect celebration, we sometimes, you know, it's just like a relationship. You have to show people how to treat you. And sometimes we need to show kids that are coming up, our peers, how to treat us.
Yeah.
Or how we should be celebrated.
Okay.
Yeah. All I can do is piggyback off of that. You know, because I love hip hop, man. You know, when you said Big Daddy Kane, I started thinking about KRS-One, Eric B, Rakim. I didn't even want to get into it, man.
Right.
I was gonna switch this out to a Kango real quick, but you know, just using that genre itself, you know, I think one of the evolutions of it has been more of the business side has come to the forefront, and those that loved hip hop, those that you know, they did it really for the culture, and they did it because it was from the heart. Learned that wasn't enough to sustain. Now they can continue to put out albums, they can continue to produce and create, but sustain meaning as the genre and the entire business part begin to profit and begin to expand. There was a lot of people that was left behind. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Because they didn't make certain moves and they just figured, I'm putting out good music, so as long as I put out solid music, I'm gonna be good. Mm-hmm. But then they didn't learn how to expand. They didn't learn how to get the right, have the right tools to make sure that they can sustain, elevate, and build, their brand, like branding. Think about how much money Reebok, Adidas, even the other one, Nike and all that made, and these guys didn't get paid a dime, but they'd wear it in every video because that was dope. Right. You know what I mean? And it got the kids to buy it. The parents was, wanted their kids to look good, so they would spend some of their tax money, anyway. But so I think where we're at now in this particular era, the kids are looking at, well, what you got? What do you have?
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, what do you have to show? What are you doing? Because, I'm getting to the money. Yeah, my music is whatever. Because, music right now some of it is whatever. Right. Is. But they're getting these deals, and they're getting to this money, and those that have those that control that obviously don't necessarily have the best interest in the culture itself, without pushing a certain narrative. Right. And I don't even want to get into that. We could do a different show on that, but I had an opportunity to speak with one of the young guys, even at the event that we were together. And he was I asked him, I said, well, how do we bridge the gap? He was 25, and I was like, how do we bridge the gap between your demographic and, let's say, my demographic? And the first thing he said is, he feels like that the older folks down what they're doing because they don't understand it. Right. That was the first thing he said. And he's like, if we could just communicate and have a conversation to get a better understanding of why you did what you did and why I do what I do, and then we could just understand that it's different. One's not necessarily better than the other. Right. So I think that there's been a breakdown. And all I can say was, you got something there. And I do think it's a breakdown, but we're the older generation. And like Doc said, we're still leaders, regardless of what credit we feel like we're not getting or we're getting. We're still leaders. We still have a voice. Right. And I think when we do utilize our voice, people listen. But if you don't utilize your voice because you feel like it's going to fall on deaf ears, then, like you said, I mean, you make 0% of the jumpers that you don't shoot. Right.
That's a true statement. I mean, I tell DJs, and I don't even want to go down this rabbit hole because that's not what we have you here for. But I tell DJs, like, hey, the moment you say I don't mess with what the kids are doing, you automatically old. You know what I'm saying? Like, you gotta embrace it, and you may not understand it, but embrace it, because a lot of it I like, some of it I don't, but a lot of it I like. And I'm not saying that I don't like it because it's new. Right. What I may not like, I don't like because I just don't think it's hot. You know what I'm saying? But a lot of it I love, and a lot of those artists I love, and a lot of those artists took the genre and really became rich off of it, and not even selling any records, because they're not selling any records anymore. They're not selling any records anymore. But I'm sorry, I didn't mean to go down that rabbit hole.
We back.
Right. I was going to just say this. Sometimes we need to look at our own selves and look at what we're doing and how we're moving.
Yeah.
Well, I am a big Jay-Z fan, not just of his music, but I'm a fan of the businessman.
Yeah.
And love or hate him, Jay-Z or Nas, if you choose Nas, that's good. But if you think about both of them, look at what they've done as far as business. Jay-Z just invested into a dispensary, alcohol. So when are we gonna stop? When are we gonna stop being workers and start being true entrepreneurs? And in order to be a true entrepreneur, you have to invest and take time and really do the things that you need to do. Because here's the thing: if you look at the artists like Jay-Z and Nas and all of them, and you go in comparison to like the generation before them, the Tony Braxton, people who did not necessarily, and Tony's a very good friend of mine.
Okay.
People who did not necessarily pay attention to contracts and things of that nature, But then you look at a Jay-Z who now he's running his business. Now he used his rap career to catapult to the next thing, to catapult to the next thing. So we have to get out of the mindset of being entrepreneurs and really being entrepreneurs that own our business,
Man.
you know, and there's
Yeah.
a difference. But I'm not going to go down to that rabbit hole either because I could forget. So, Rob, you are a relationship realist?
Yeah. Yes. Right. So relationship realist. And you know, the thing about it was when I started my platform, it was after coming out of a long-term relationship. And so I had a bunch of questions that I probably should have asked while I was in the relationship to get a better understanding. But that not being an option, you know, I just had questions like, you know, why do guys do this? Why do men do that? Ladies, why do you accept men that do this and vice versa? And I tried to do it on a public social media platform, right? And so the brazen ones that didn't care, they would say, well, this is why I don't care. I do it like this and whatever. But I would get a lot of DMs like, hey, this is a good question. This is how I felt. And the DMs would compile. I'm like, look, I'm not reading your DMs because number one, I asked the question in public because maybe somebody would say something that other people can relate and it would help them. Right. So they was like, well, give us the right platform where we can have a safe space to do that. Okay. And so that's what I wind up doing. It started out with a small Facebook group where I would ask questions and they would be from one end of the spectrum to the other, but they would be it would be dialogue between men and women, whether they were married, single, engaged, divorced, that type of thing, because you know, if you're in a certain crowd, you're gonna get certain answers. Right. And only because, you know, they may feel like they're being judged or you may know more of their business than they would like for you to, so they wouldn't share everything. And so it just grew. You know, I wind up turning into a brand. And the relationship realist part, you know, you have experts and gurus and things like that. But the difference between that and me is I share my experiences. You know, it's one thing when people give you stats, they give you the book, you know, they give you the book information, they give you graphs, charts and all that. But you never know if they practice what they preach, right? How did that work for you? How did that philosophy work for you? And, you know, I wanted to be different. And so what realist means to me is I don't just look at my perspective. It's not just about me. You know, I have to look at different vantage points of different individuals. Because we're not always going to agree exactly to the T. And, you know, the reality of it is that, you know, there's a gap. And sometimes you can bridge the gap, or sometimes you realize you're not a good fit. And I think that's an issue, and that's still an issue since I've been in this particular industry, is sometimes people try to make they try to make it fit. What do they say? Put a square peg in a circle in a square peg. And they still try to do it because on the surface, everything makes sense, or on paper, it should make sense. But the reality of it is when you're looking at where you're at, what you're doing, what your goals are, and the person across from you, if they don't match, you know, typically we know pretty soon. But there's some denial there. There's some denial there, and you just try so hard to make it fit. And I like to, you know, basically help people see both ends of the spectrum, so they don't think that something's always wrong with them, or they don't think that something's wrong with everyone else. Right. And that's how that's been going.
You know, I think that the blessing of like our platform and having you on is, you know, not only like there's food being given, you're giving a meal, you know, you're giving a meal, and we appreciate the meal that you're serving up, and we hope that, you know, somebody that looks at this podcast, looks at it, you know, later on YouTube or whatever the platforms, you know, Spotify, Apple, they can get the food as well, because you can't, there's no limit on information. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? There's no limit on information, and even if later on you don't agree, at least take the information in. You
Yeah.
know, then digest it and see if okay, I can go with that, or no, I think that's totally false. You know what I mean? But
Yeah.
take the information, and we are never too smart, too mature, know too much or too successful to take that information in.
Yeah.
So we are thankful, for you to do what you do because
Indeed.
it's needed. We appreciate it.
Likewise. Likewise. I'm thankful for you guys. One of the things, and I'll just be real brief, is a lot of people ask, well, how can you give advice, or how could you, share what you're sharing, and you're single, or you're unmarried, and the thing about it, I've been married before, I've been engaged before. Obviously, I have children, and when it comes to relationships, I think what people forget is it's not just that individual and the person you're looking across. Sometimes there's kids involved. Sometimes there's parents involved. They may not need to be involved, but sometimes they're involved.
Right,
And
right.
there's so many other factors that you have to take in consideration. And I believe what happens a lot of times is two people, sometimes they get caught up in each other and they think it's just them, right? And then the reality hits when there are kids, or there are other responsibilities, or there are goals that need to be met. So if you're going to be in my life, you have to understand I still have goals,
Right.
and so how does that play a part in what we're building or what we're trying to create? And so if we factor in all those things, we have to factor in, more than just, how fine, and what kind of money they're looking at, or the potential money, and things like that. We also have to think about what does this person feel a relationship or marriage looks like to them.
Right.
You know what I mean? Is it something that they're stuck on? Is there an ideal that they're stuck on, or are they open to creating something new with someone new? And one of the things I like to do with in my groups is when I ask them, and this is men and women, what happened with your last relationship? The ladies typically say, well, he did this, right? Well, let me just be more specific. He cheated, right? That's probably about 90%. He cheated. And then the guys would say, well, she crazy. That's your explanation, right? But no one starts out with the key factors prior to that, because those are typically end results. If a person is decides to step out, there's things that led to that. Whether it's man or woman, and if a man or woman loses their top or black out, it's steps that happen to that. So we have to identify prior to, and then there also comes a fork in the road to where if you identified it and you addressed it, what did you decide to do about it? What did you guys decide? What did you guys agree?
Right.
Like, did you agree on how to move forward or not move forward? And so those are the things you have to look at, first and foremost, before you can get into your story about all the stuff that they did. Because I'm not really interested in all the things that they did. Because at that point, people are taking risks because they're already gone.
Right.
And sometimes they even sabotage the relationships.
Right.
So I have two questions. I have a question concerning what you just said, and then I have another question. So my first question is, what if you are in a relationship and you have no clue why the person, like, you did in your mind, you did everything that you were supposed to, and the person just stepped out, and you don't even know the reason why.
Right.
You get what I'm saying?
Yeah, I understand exactly what you're saying.
I'm gonna ask that, and then I'm gonna give you the second one so that you can go straight into it.
Okay.
Which is, what tips would you give to men and women about things that they should do before entering into a relationship?
Oh, that's awesome. And I may bounce around. One thing that I have noticed, and this can be men and women, but I'll say particularly, I would say that two of the biggest issues, one of the issues for women that I've noticed is accountability. And I'll go into that real quick. The issue with men that I'll have is discipline. So accountability and discipline, and those can be interchangeable. But I'll start with the guys first. When it comes to discipline, we have to be disciplined because, number one, as leaders, we're leaders before we get into relationships, right? So we have to be men of valor, and lead ourselves. And that I find women find more attractive when a guy is a leader, right? And he has the discipline, he has the consistency of whatever he's doing, right? And so when we get into a relationship, or we get to a point to where we're getting to be with someone, we have to have the discipline to stay the course, like regardless of what the direction or whatever we trying to figure out in our head. We have to be able to be more vocal. We have to be, identify our strengths and weaknesses. And I'm just talking about men. It's interchangeable. I'm talking about us men. We have to identify our strengths and weaknesses and be okay that we have strength and weaknesses and be able to work on those. And we can even share that with our partner. Well, look, I haven't always been a great communicator in my relationship, so that's something that I'm learning now. Right. So that's why when you said something to me, I shut down, or I start cursing, or I start acting a fool, because I haven't learned to be a good communicator. And just identifying those things is, of course, that's worst case scenario if he's going off like that. But and the commitment part and being consistent has a lot to do with the discipline. If we're showing a person that we feel some type of way, we care about them, we do that for 2 months, 3 months, and then, we feel like she's comfortable, because that happens. And then, we go back to, not being consistent what we did in the beginning. So, discipline is always going to be something important. And even when we get into the relationship, the temptations, right? The temptations of men getting phone calls from the ex, or just seeing, women approaching us, or just, depending on your environment, some guys attract a lot of women, charismatic, attract, handsome physically. But we have to be disciplined and understand that it's not only going to cost a relationship, but as an individual, now you have to understand that, your word is your bond, right? And what kind of man are you, to where, depending on what comes your way, you go to the left or the right. And so I think that's tough. And so on the accountability part, just real quick for ladies, is I feel like you ladies are so smart. Y'all are so smart to the fact that you see exactly what it is that you don't want, but there is a rationale up here that it will change, or we can change that guy, or things will get better if I continue to do this and do that, versus seeing exactly what's going on right in front of you, seeing that consistency and paying attention to exactly what it is, not his words when he messes up, and apologize, because we know exactly what to say that'll give us another 9 lives, right? And just understanding, sometimes it is what it is, right? I mean, what does it take to really see any more than what's going on? And so having that accountability of, I know better. I typically don't make decisions like that. Okay. This time it happens for whatever reason, but, sometimes you got to cut things off early and not look back. And so if you decide to go back down that route, or go back into that cycle, you can put it on him all you want, but he's just being exactly who he is and who he's been.
Right.
And accountability in this, like I said, it can be interchangeable. But your first question, of course, was, what if you were saying, what if they seem like they've gone astray on their own? Is that roughly what you're saying? If you're doing everything that you can, you're playing your part, but they just decide to do what they want to do.
Yeah, pretty much. Yes.
So when it comes to that, I like to have a relationship report card, right? You have relationship report cards when you're in a relationship, before you go into a relationship, and when you just come out of it. Obviously, your grades are going to vary because you have different experiences to go off of.
Mhm.
I think that we have to do a better job of vetting of who we're dealing with, and it has a lot to do with what we've experienced prior to. Sometimes when we go into the next relationship, subconsciously we want someone who's not like the last person. So if Tyrone didn't work, right, and he seemed like he wanted to work, but for some reason he didn't work. He seemed like he got lazy and ungrateful and things like that. Then the next individual is kind of like you get way too many points for just being stable. Like you should be stable, right? So sometimes y'all get excited that okay, he's gainfully employed or he's an entrepreneur, he has his own business, and he look good.
Right.
Two of those, like you're getting way too many points for some of the standards that we should have.
They should be just kind
They
of
should be.
right.
They should be. They should be. And so of course we have to look at those things prior. But when we're in it, I think we should have a report card to identify how things are going. Like if you don't say anything, it's kind of like when you're in school, right? You have some people that they always raise their hand. I got a question. I got a question because I don't know. And that person, people look at them because, okay, well, why are they always raising their hand and asking questions? Because they want to learn, because they know they don't know it all. But then you have another group that they're not going to say nothing, but they're going to listen to the person asking the question, right? Right. But at the same time, that's still not their question. They're just hearing someone else's experience. So I'm going somewhere with this. And the last one is people that don't say nothing. And then they just wait till they start failing. You know what I mean? They wait till the progress report and you got a D. You got a 65 average and you're trying to figure out how can you pass this class. Well, you didn't ask any questions. All you did was show up every day and you get points for that, but that's not enough. And so I feel like that's where we are. I think we have to come together and really evaluate where we are. Some people think that's weird. I don't. And that's something that I said that I would do moving forward, whether it's getting to know someone or friendship. I like to know, hey, how you feeling? How do you feel things are going? Like, we can talk about anything, right? So why should this be awkward when we're talking about the progression of us?
But you know what, Rob, and I didn't mean to interrupt. I know what we have noticed because of prior relationships and in our relationships, I'm sorry, is that sometimes people don't want to have those hard conversations.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because they are difficult. You know what I'm saying? Like, nobody wants to hurt anybody's feelings, or nobody wants to make anybody feel a certain kind of way. Nobody wants to seem like the bad lady or the bad man.
Yeah.
And, the second part is something that you said early on when you got started, being really transparent about yourself. And that is so key. Transparency is so key. Transparency and accountability is so key.
Yeah.
But sometimes I don't know if people it takes some time for people to realize how to be transparent and accountable.
Yeah.
That's not always something that you get right off the bat. Sometimes you have to go through some things and have some wins and have some losses in order to be those things, because they are things that are really necessary in a relationship and in life, period.
Yeah, definitely building blocks in the relationship, and as you move forward, but one of the things I like to practice is you're going to have the conversations at some point, right? So you can have them in the front end, or you can have them on the back end when the problem arises, right? Because once the problem arises, you're going to have that same uncomfortable conversation. And then you're going to have to explain, well, why did you do that? And if you, and of course, if you say, well, I felt this type of way, then what's the answer to that? Or what's the other question? Well, why didn't you tell me in the beginning? Or why didn't you tell me earlier?
Right.
So I think it's, not everybody is initially equipped, like you mentioned, to do that. I know for me in my previous relationships, I just shut down. I wouldn't say nothing. Like I'm the guy to where she's talking this way, right? I'm looking forward, but she's talking this way,
right?
Right? And she's like, well, what do you have to say? I don't have anything to say. I feel like you said it all. Like you said what you said, and then you gave me your supporting reasons on why you think I did it. So what's left for me to do? To confirm or deny? I'm not going to do that. Right. And so just kind of going through so many challenges and learning that if you don't communicate, the person across from you can create whatever they want.
Right.
You're not debating it. You're not rebutting it. You're not doing anything. So it's on you to create your story, create your narrative, and a lot of times it's misunderstanding. Like how many times is a misunderstanding? Text messages get misunderstood, emails get misunderstood. When somebody does something, their intent gets misunderstood. But once you make a decision to communicate and not pre-thinking what that other person's going to say, and just communicate anyway, then you have an opportunity to address a lot of things and probably avoid some unnecessary roughness.
Right. And it's funny because Cassandra had to say, listen, you don't know what I'm going to say, man. Like, stop. I didn't get it out. You don't know what I'm going to say. If you let me finish, I probably would have gave you the answer to the question that you had, but you cut me off. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Again, we are learning. I've watched us both grow, what I'm saying? Because there is a learning process. We both can't talk at the same time. We've learned that. Like, hey, you know what I'm saying? If she's talking, I can't, and jump in. Because then now we fighting because we jumped in. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's something additional.
You gotta let your that person get it all out. Yeah. And I will try to remember all of my points to everything that you said, but we can't both talk at the same time.
Yeah.
We both can't talk at the same time.
That's a fact.
Right.
Another thing is I learned to be a better listener. Men and women alike, sometimes we have a tendency to, just listen and respond to that particular thing. Like we got to get that off, right? Because we have an answer for that. And doing that, we lose focus on the entire message that our significant other or companion is trying to get to us. And then we're focused on that. Like, it doesn't matter what they say afterwards. Just at one point, I didn't do that though. Right. That wasn't me. You was wrong on that one. Give me credit. Right. She can't even finish the other stuff that you did do or the stuff that needs to be addressed because we're so focused on that. And so, being a better listener, and not only when things are, not only when there's major conflict, just all around, right. Getting to learn your partner, paying attention to your partner. These are things that are bonuses in the relationship, and that takes effort to do that. So that lets you know that your partner is actually taking an effort, getting to know you, learning your nonverbal communication, understanding your love languages, and actually exercising the expression of their love language. And a lot of that stuff happens natural, but we can get confused sometimes if a woman's love language is quality time, and her number one love language is quality time, and then her secondary may be words of affirmation. We're trying to figure out why. Hey, I just got you a ring. I just bought you a new car. I just got you these things right here, and you seem so ungrateful.
Right.
Guess what, man? She wants time, man, and she wants to be. She wants you to pour into her. So it don't matter if the 8 carat wine comes. Nah, let me not put carrots on you, ladies, on that. But what we may think is impressive is not necessarily impressive when it's not what she really needs versus what she actually wants.
Say that. I got you. What you got?
So it is 8:45, and
We moving.
8:45.
Yeah, we moved too. Like it.
Normally at 8:45, we play games with the other couple. So on these past, the business of love, we've allowed the other person
Yes.
to ask us questions.
Yes.
I know that Jay probably was afraid in the past because of who our guest was. I'm afraid because it's a guy. I'm afraid because it's a guy. So you get 3 questions.
Okay.
To ask us.
All right. And so both of you ask that one question, or I have to rapid fire that and have to direct the question to the individual?
I think it can be.
This is new, so
yeah. I think the question we'll answer. We'll answer all 3 of the questions to the best of our ability.
Okay.
I ain't gonna lie, Rob. I try to, as much as we are on this platform, I do feel like that this young lady is my private life, and I try my best to keep it that, even though we are on the forefront. You know what I mean?
Know. Last week you didn't.
I
was uncomfortable
they
about
were talking
your answer.
trash to me. Like,
I was uncomfortable about your answer.
Like, I'm a winner. You can't talk so much trash to me. Like, I'm gonna go hard, Rob. Like, it's my nature.
I was
uncomfortable.
What I mean?
It's in my nature. It's in my nature. Well, and I didn't do it. That's what I didn't do it.
You did.
Yes, I know.
You did.
I didn't.
Like, I was uncomfortable. I'm
sorry. I'm sorry. All right.
Well,
all right. My
fault. My idea of questions is not to get in you guys' business. It's more so as a couple, how you guys handle certain things. So all that other stuff, trying to figure stuff out, that has nothing to do with me or my type of audience. So that being said, I would say the first question would be, how do you guys handle intense conflict? And I'll give you a couple of options if it falls under that. Intense conflict, like you guys just aren't seeing eye to eye. You dead set on how you feel. You dead set on how you feel. If it's that intense, if it's ever been that intense, do you guys, number one, handle it immediately? Do you, 2, take some time, like hours, and say, hey, you know what? We're going to meet back in an hour and try to figure this thing out? Or 3, take days? Has it ever been anything to where you just felt like, you know what, this ain't going to be resolved tonight? We'll try it again tomorrow. But the caveat to that is, do you still share the same space?
So here's a question that I have before I think either one of us can answer the question fairly. So, we do love and business together.
Yeah.
So are you talking about our personal relationship or our business relationship?
Well, does one affect the other?
Not for me, but for Jay, yes.
For me, yes.
For him, yes. For me, no.
For me, yes. And Rob, I'm telling you, I'm really transparent. Good, bad, and different. I'm gonna give it to you. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
She does a great job of separating the two. Me, excuse my language, all that shit kind of go together. You know what I'm saying? Like, it kind of all go together. So I'm not. She is much better at that than I am. If that answers, if that gives,
it does. So with that being said, just that example that Jay had something that was on a personal end, and now it's time to handle business. and now he's like, well, look, this is unresolved, so I can't even move forward on what we need to take care of. Right.
So that's not him. That's not him. That's opposite. That's me. So
okay.
me, I don't care what it is. If it for me, I just feel as though that whatever issues we have need to be resolved. Not I go to sleep, not you go to sleep, not any of that. I feel like it has to be resolved. Jay will not resolve it. Jay will ignore it. Jay won't respond. He'll just whatever, like he'll put up a barrier. But for me, my thought process is if the statement is I don't want to hurt you, or it is my duty not to hurt you, or my goal not to hurt you. Okay. Well, every time we have an issue and you don't resolve it, you're hurting me.
Yeah.
No, I was just giving the
truth. So even with that example, Jay, so what is? Do you feel like that it's that it's something that can be compressed? Is there anything that serious to where, hey, let's address it right now, or do you feel like everything can be compressed? Let's move forward because we got moves to make, and we'll deal with that when we deal with that.
Sometimes, Rob, I need to just take it in. I need a minute to process and take it in. You know what I'm saying? Like I may not have an answer or thought, or may not have the answer right then and there. Sometimes I need to take this in. I don't have an answer for you right now. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. I'm taking it. I'm taking it in. And I don't know. It's kind of that's kind of me. Not saying it's either good or bad, but that's me. Where she will want to direct. Hey, right now, let's handle it so we can move on. And I may not. I need some time to process it, think about it, and really tell you what it really is.
Okay. And so you guys are you guys finding a happy medium, or is it just case by case? Because all of them can't go one way, right? All of them can't go one way.
All of them don't, and all of them don't. And I do think that we both will apologize if we feel like we could have handled some stuff, a different way. You know what I mean? So it doesn't all go one way. I can't. It's a fair kind of pendulum back and forth kind of, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it's not one way. Yeah, it's not.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So the second question is there such thing as healthy jealousy in relationships? Healthy jealousy. And what I mean by that is
explain
I will. Healthy jealousy meaning sometimes in relationships people feel like they want to be they don't want a nonchalant approach, meaning, are you paying attention? Are you doing some type of edification? Are you showing me some appreciation to where if outside appreciation happens or comes, is it healthy jealousy? Meaning, or let me give you a better example. Let's say that you're out and you're having dinner or whatnot. Male waitress or female waitress takes care of you, and let's just say that they're flirting with one of you, right? Is it a healthy jealousy? Meaning, okay, I know what I have. It's cool. I have an attractive mate, so I'm cool. People will look. People will say something.
That's where we at, right? And I didn't mean to cut you off.
Yeah.
That's where we at. It's fun. Prime example. When we met you, right? We were leaving out, and it's raining, and I don't have an umbrella. I'm ready to go get the car. And first he was like, I can walk. I'm like, no, let me bring the car. Let me pull this car over here. So as I pull the car, the dude says, hey, you need some help, right? You know what I'm saying? He's like, did you hear him? You know what I mean? You ain't hear him. Did you hear him? And he said X, Y, Z. I said, yo, he's supposed to. And like, he is supposed to. I get it. You know what I mean? Talk your shit. I understand why he would want it. I get it.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? I get it. So we and for real, we talk about. It's funny because she was even telling somebody recently too, like because we are in Atlanta and we fly back and forth. We in the airport. We're on a plane. Somebody come on a plane, joint like this, right?
Yeah.
She'd be like, man, that's fake. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
But we talk about it. You know what I'm saying? We really do talk about it. So we are I think we're really mature and advanced at that because we do understand that we have that somebody else wants, you know what I mean, that this person is attractive, qualified, intelligent, well-versed. We both understand that we are both that. So we don't necessarily have, just don't be disrespectful. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Look, Amaya, say, just don't be
respect on it though.
You know what I'm saying? Don't be disrespectful. That's it.
All right, so I saw that Angel said jealous may be the wrong word, and actually it's not. So what I mean by that is jealous meaning not envious, but jealous if one is actually getting some extra attention to where you're not mad about it, but it's like, okay, it's like you mentioned, it's kind of anticipated, it's kind of understood, but as long because we can't control what other people are doing.
Right.
But at the same time, you may look at your significant other and see how are they receiving the compliments, how are they receiving the advancements, and how are they handling it.
Right.
And I think that's the major part because people are gonna be who they are, right? But do you look at your mate and be like, okay, how you gonna handle that?
For us, I'll be like, damn, you got them up in the air today, don't you? Red and yeah. I'm like, you got to open up today, shorty, don't you? Like, that's what you know what I mean? She got she's big, you know what I'm saying? So I get it. I get it. And then I'll mess with her like, boy, I just worked out. You see this? Feel my chest. You know what I'm saying? Like, you want to feel it right now? Mm-hmm. Man, feel it. Mm-hmm. So we do have. So that's healthy, and it's probably different than most people's. You know what I mean?
I think so. I think that's above average. Yeah. And I know we're running on time, but the last question, which is very important, I think a lot of people want to know is how do you guys? What are your guys' thoughts when it comes to money and how you handle money? How you handle money for the household?
In a relationship?
In a relationship.
Oh, he doesn't touch the money.
Okay.
You know what? I'm going to give you a bonus question. Yeah, that's not even a question. That's not a question.
Rob, listen, man.
That's not a question.
So when I tell you, and so by no means is it perfect. We go at it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But we go at it about maybe I didn't. There's not enough quality time being spent. We're working, but it's not enough quality time being spent. That's what. But we aren't jealous of each other. Very transparent. I am well aware of my weaknesses. Okay. I mean, really, to be honest, that's where it started. It started from my weaknesses, and I went to look for her because I needed help.
Because we started as business, not love.
Right.
Okay.
So, okay. I needed help, and she is better with money than I am. I have gotten light years better.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But please handle this, book it, whatever, get the money, give it to me when I need it, or whatever the case may be. So we don't really have that, you know what I'm saying? We don't really have that issue. But when you do have two strong individuals that, you know what I mean, sometimes have to take a step back and deal with those codes and those things that we talked about, like, hey, letting her get a thought out, let me get a thought out, or we can't talk at the same time. And, they are the things that we steadily work on because, we friends at the end of the day. Like, we friends. If we ain't, we are friends. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, we can talk about somebody's ass in the airport and not have an issue. You know what I'm saying? Like, we can. Or somebody can tell her I'm nice looking and she not have an issue. Or somebody can give her a compliment and I'm like, the fuck, I don't expect nothing less. You know what I'm saying? Like,
right.
We don't that part we don't read because I think we're really confident in each other as well.
So I'm gonna I promise you a bonus question, and I will give you 5 extra minutes. So you got your bonus.
Okay, good. All right. So this is a really big deal. This is what's going on in the dating climate. What would you recommend for individuals that want to get married or don't want to get married to date someone that doesn't want to get married at that moment or adamant about not getting married? What would you do that? Because people are coming together, right? People are coming together and one is saying, well, I want to get married. Now, whether they say it right in the beginning of the conversation or a little bit down the line, they're saying, I want to get married. And then the other person say, hey, I don't really want, that's not what I'm trying to do right now, but we can still connect. And they're still connecting even with those two mindsets. What would be your advice?
So I'm gonna tell you this, and then I'm gonna run. I gotta.
Why don't you let me answer first? And you do
because I got one.
But I got it. So go do what you got to do real quick.
Okay.
Come on, go. You talking? So for me, what I would say is it goes back to what we initially talked about. You have to know who you're dealing with. You know what I mean? You have to know your partner. I am a firm believer. And, we both were married. We both have been married before, right?
All right, sure. Right.
So what you do is you have to do things differently, right? Mm-hmm. So I am a firm believer, and I say this all the time. I was not friends with my ex-husband.
Okay.
So I'm friends with our foundation is different. Our foundation started off as friendship, and because it's so firm, we've allowed everything else to grow off of it.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So in doing that, every stage of what it is, I know it is my job and my duty to know him and to learn him and to learn my partner and learn my mate. So with that said, I've taken time to know him. For instance, he had to go do something. I knew he had to do it. I told him 2 minutes before he got up just now to go ahead and do it because I know him. I read his body language. I can read his facial expressions. I know him. So when it's talking about if someone wants to be married or don't be married, that's a conversation that maybe you need to have if you don't know the person well enough. Yeah. Or it's a conversation that you don't have to have because of how your relationship is going. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I do.
So, that's pretty much what I would say.
I'm back.
Welcome back.
You had an answer.
Time is the most precious commodity that we have. It's kind of you can't get that time back. So you really have to make a decision that if I'm going to do this until I'm just don't feel like doing it anymore, or you just cut it loose, but you can't get the time back. So if you are thinking you're going to change somebody and and you can't get the time back like that. That's what I was really thinking. Like you can't. Yeah. So you got to make a decision. Well, am I going to entertain myself until something changes, or I'm not going to deal with it at all? Because it really, I really feel like it's based on time. You cannot get your time back. It's the only thing that you can't get back. And get relationships, money, all of that stuff back, but you can't get the time. So even if you don't get married, it doesn't work out, and you had fun and you enjoyed it, then it's well worth it. you don't even want to give it that shot, then you kind of end it because you can't. There's no need of wasting your time.
Yeah. She's looking at that. Hey, both of those make a lot of sense. And like you said, what it boils down to is a person making an educated decision. And that was my point. A lot of, sometimes people they just go off the flow of things, right? It feels good. It works right now. It's cool. But then they're looking 6-7 months in, and there's expectations that were never discussed. Right. Those expectations that was never discussed. So people are feeling betrayed or feeling, bamboozled, if you will. But there was no conversation of expectations. And I feel like there's always some expectations, even if it's just going to be what it is. Let's either continue to do what we're doing to build or know that what we're doing has an expiration. And we decide when that expiration date is going to be. But again, it boils down to having those uncomfortable conversations, which I actually put a book out a couple of years ago called Uncomfortable Conversations. And it was the exact thing of how do you approach your shit, right? How do you approach your shit, whether it's a relationship, a friendship, whatever I call them COVID ships now because a lot of people are getting together because of the pandemic. So pandemic ships, COVID ships, so a lot, people are coming together for whatever reasons or finding the light of why they want to be with someone now. But yeah, those conversations, unfortunately, there's a lot of people that's not having them. And that's why we kind of have that group or that climate of folks saying that, they're still waiting. But I appreciate you guys showing the example that love does exist, partnership exists, friendship exists, and all that is compiled into the dynamic that you have. So I really appreciate the opportunity for you guys leading by example. That's dope.
Thank you, Rob. Thank you
Hey,
so
Rob,
much.
can you do me a favor? How can they follow everything that you have going on? This is your shameless plug portion.
Yeah, definitely. I have the fedora hats for men and women. You got to check that out. Everything that I have is I am Rob Malloy. Twitter, I am Rob Malloy. IG, I am Rob Malloy, even on Facebook. But the website is robmalloy.com. robmalloy.com. You can find everything that I have going on there. And I follow. You follow, I follow back. And I definitely stay connected and collab and support whatever I can be a part of that I stand for.
Right. Rob, listen, I do want to thank you for taking time out your schedule.
Yes, sir.
Giving us this food, giving us this this dinner. You know what I'm saying? And giving us this full course dinner that you did because we digested it. I know people who are looking at this are digesting it, and people who will look at this recording later will digest this. Man, we are grateful. We're thankful for what you do. We're here to celebrate just Black excellence. Never here to do anything, any clickbait interviews, just to talk about a bunch of nonsense. We really want to highlight that. Because especially in this climate, I think it's very important and imperative that we celebrate and celebrate in this climate. So thank you so much.
Yeah, definitely. My pleasure.
Before we go, I just want to say, please, I kind of share the same thing all the time. Please protect your circle, because it is you pick up the habits of the people closest to you. So you want to really watch that, and you want to make sure that these relationships have some value. We talk about a lot of us just kind of stepping back. We're not mad at anybody, but we just have stepped back because there's no value in the relationship anymore. Maybe we're bringing all the value and nobody's bringing any value back. So that's okay. We aren't mad at you. It's just, we're growing and we're moving on. It's okay. You know what I'm saying? You call, we still maybe pick up the phone, but I
don't pick up the phone.
She won't. You know what I'm saying? Just protect that. That is key, and that is crucial to protect your energy and make sure your relationships have value. And I just want to leave everybody with that. Rob Malloy, thank you so much for joining
Man,
us.
I'm honored.
Thank you. Love and Business on Lock podcast. We are greatly appreciative. Do not necessarily log off once we close the show, just so we can have a conversation off camera. All right.
I salute you. I salute you both. I appreciate it. I'm honored.
All right. Thank you. Y'all be safe.
One
We
second,
appreciate
Rob.
it.
1 second, Rob. Don't
Take
log
care.
off yet.
Be safe. Enjoy the rest of your evening.